Hey guys, Feuerrm here, and before this video starts, I'd just like to say I will be streaming this Saturday, October 12th at 4:30 p.m. GMT. We'll do the Zenvo special event, some multiplayer, and much more. I hope to see you there. Hey guys, Feuerrm here, and today I will be testing the TVR Griffith in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. So this is a car that came out a bit of a while back, but it took a long time for me to figure out how to drive it properly, so that's why there's only a video now. I have it 2-starred at 2001 rank. Now looking at the stats, you might already be able to tell why this car is so difficult to drive. It has a nitro of 27, and when it was at stock, it had the lowest nitro in the entire game. So yeah, you will see throughout this video, that is the biggest struggle that I have with this car. You can see it at the beginning here. You really have to drive it a bit differently than you have to do most other cars. Now, if you are used to driving cars that have poor nitro efficiency, this shouldn't be a problem. Now, I personally like the cars better that have better nitro efficiency and worse speed, stuff like that, because if it's so extreme like this, like very good top speed for Class D, but terrible nitro efficiency, I just find that because I can't actually get up to that top speed, and because of the bad nitro efficiency so much throughout the races, it's not a very fun car to drive, and I don't really enjoy driving this one. Now, I know it gets better at 3 and 4 stars. At 4 stars, it is the definite king of Class D. I'm just speaking of my experience with the car at 2 stars, and I didn't bother starring it up more because, well, frankly, it would not have been worth the tokens, and I needed those tokens to get the Senna. So yeah, that's why mine's at 2 stars. Plus, weirdly enough, this car was not actually needed in order to get the Senna, which I thought was a little bit surprising, since usually the new cars that are added in an update are needed to get whatever special event is in that update. So I guess that was kind of nice, but yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of incentive to start up. So we come in first in this first race here, beating an Acura, a Hycera 33, two of them actually, and in this video, we're going to see generally how this car does against C-class cars, and some high-end D-class ones as well. I recorded these races when I was in Silver League in the Classic Series, and I remember last time I streamed, I was only in Classic Series or something, and that really limited my car choices. This time, I will at least try to get to Platinum League, I believe, before the stream, so that I can try a whole lot of cars. And of course, we have the Zenvo season as well. Watch my video about that if you haven't yet. The car is truly amazing. But I'm not entirely sure how much of that I will do on stream, because it is definitely one of the most important multiplayer seasons that we've ever had, and I just feel like if I'm streaming and doing it, it might not go as well because I'd be nervous. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll still do it some. But the reason it is so important is because it gives a lot of blueprints, actually, if you do very well in it, for the Zenvo, which you need along with the Senna to get the next super special car, which I have predicted in the past is the Vanda. You guys probably have heard about that if you've been on my channel for a while, but top 10 gives 60 Zenvo blueprints, which is enough to unlock the car, and so I officially will be trying to get my first ever true top 10 in a multiplayer season. Wish me luck, guys. So we come in first here as well by a pretty long shot against two Hyceras, a Pininfarina, an Acura NSX. It just goes to show that even cars that are not easy to drive, if you learn how to drive them, which granted in this case does take a while, you can do some pretty decent stuff in multiplayer with them. And I have recorded some races in the SRT8 as well at 3 stars. Perhaps I will make a video about that sometime as well. Now, I knew this race was going to be hard because I'm driving a very not agile car on a handling track, but then I get knocked down to make it even worse, and I have no idea if that was intentional or not. It seemed kind of weird that that Viper just kind of 360'd randomly in the middle there, so perhaps it was intentional, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say it wasn't. I really don't know. In any case, it doesn't really matter at this point. We're all the way back into 4 out of 8 position, and so my goal for this one was to see if I could come back to a podium position in this car against C-class cars after getting knocked down. And, well, we'll see how it goes. We managed to catch up to that Viper who knocked us down at this point, who then wrecks over on the left side, so we have come back into a podium position. But these two guys aren't actually too far ahead of me there. I really didn't think I was going to be able to catch up with either of them, to be honest. One of them's a 3000 rank Alfieri, and the other one's a 3000 rank Pininfarina. Two C-class cars that are 1000 rank higher than me, and definitely better cars overall. But I managed to somehow pass this Pininfarina on that jump, and come in second place, honestly not too far behind this Alfieri. I remember I said in a previous video, or maybe it was my last stream, I don't remember, but sometime I said that the reason I wasn't uploading a video about this car was just because it was so bad and I wasn't able to get many good races in it. Well, I persevered, and you can see what has happened. I still don't like it, and I would prefer to drive almost anything else in multiplayer, but I've gotten to the point where that in Silver League, against a lot of cars, I can do a decent job, whereas before I was really struggling with the D-Class cars. So even after playing this game for a year and a few months since launch, well, there's still some things I struggle with in it. Here, I somehow ride on the wall and don't wreck. This race was a bit crazy, and we will see later in the race that I actually have what I consider to be my craziest stunt that I have ever done in Asphalt 9, and you will see what I mean in a bit. Now, I'm sure other people have done crazier stunts, but for some reason, my game just doesn't really like to do a whole lot of them. If I land on my top, I tend to wreck rather than going crazy up into the air like a bunch of other people. Gameloft just doesn't seem to like me in that regard. So coming up into the cave here, it was a pretty normal race so far. I'm actually only against 4 people here, which was kind of weird for Silver League, including an Aranera Hasera. But I actually go off to the left of this ramp, and then I turn to a helicopter, go up to the top, and go down. That was so fast, I'm going to replay it again in 0.25 speed so you can see a bit better what exactly happened. So my car started doing like almost a sideways flat spin, then when I hit the top, I don't know exactly how this happened. I'm surprised I didn't wreck in any of that, but hey, it happened, and I'm still in first place, even after that crazy thing. Any stunt compilation people have my permission to use the clip of that stunt, as long as you give me credit for it. Then we use our, second long shockwave and go to the finish line to take the victory. Another interesting thing about this race is that once we get to the end here, I noticed that the DSE tents had actually beat the Aranera Hasera 33. Now, I've noticed that the DSE tents has been beating a lot of C-Class cars this season, and I really think the reason for that is just because of its crazy nitro. And it's ended up being a lot like the Corvette of Class D, even more so than the Elise, just because people are really overusing it in multiplayer, just like the Corvette is kind of overused in my opinion, because once you get up to Gold League, pretty much half the people are in your race, and in Classic Season are going to be Corvettes. Likewise, in Bronze League, it feels like half the people are DSE tenses, and just like the Corvette, it can beat a lot of cars in higher classes in multiplayer, simply due to being a lot more forgiving for mistakes, including wrecks, honestly, but even just little mistakes, like losing some speed, and the Corvette has that same sort of way. Now, I haven't really planned on specifically testing it again after its nitro boost, simply because, well, pretty much everybody has already done that at this point, but I still might if you guys really want to see that. Near the end of this race here, there was a car that started catching up quite close behind me, and after the race ended, I realized that it was actually an Acura NSX, and it was catching up quite a bit around this turn because this car, with its bad handling stat, loses a lot of speed around that turn. Plus, its drifting is simply not that great either, so that's why that Acura was catching up. Originally, I thought it was another TVR Griffith, which I thought I saw behind me at the beginning of the race, but it turned out there was not another one in the race after all, so I don't know what I saw. In any case, his better handling was not enough for him, and we do take first place in this race. Now for our final race in the video, which is on Downtown Rise. One of my, honestly, least favorite tracks for multiplayer, especially if it is 2 laps, because on the second lap, that part where you go to the right and there's the trains, well, usually there's a train right around the corner that you hit pretty much all the time if you have a car that's either decently fast or has only average drifting or worse than that. So basically, only the Corvette can get around there without wrecking. Thankfully, Classic Series in the first 3 leagues is only 1 lap, so I did not have to worry about that, and you don't have to worry about it in most multiplayer seasons. So I settled into a pretty good 4 out of 8 position, and also, I mean, I really don't like that beginning either because of drifting up through that small bit and then going up those 2 barrel rolls. Feels kind of claustrophobic, and there was a lot of knockdowns that happened there. Yeah, this is definitely one of my least favorite San Francisco tracks overall, but we've now gone into 2 out of 8 position, passing an Aranera Hasera, and interestingly, both of them, the 2 cars ahead of me, actually go on the long way over to the left. Really, guys, that is like a few seconds longer. Do not go that way. Go to the right unless it is on the second lap. Then honestly, you probably save more time going to the left than you would going to the right and wrecking. Just like that, we've passed this guy who goes onto the right route. My general review of this car: King of Class D, good top speed, bad everything else. Thank you all for watching. We come in first. Please like the video if you've enjoyed and consider subscribing for more Asphalt, Forza, and Minecraft content. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.